students, welcome to TSAT classes. Welcome to class on TSPSC Group 1 Polity paper. As part of our Indian polity and constitution, we have already discussed few topics in relation to chapter 4 of paper 3 in your Group 1 mains. To continue with the chapter 4, the judicial system, let us see few more questions today. As we already discussed, friends, the main aim of this sessions or series is to make you understand two important things. Firstly, the expected questions and the areas from each subject, and second of all, how to write an answer for a particular question. What is a good way of writing an answer? So let us see few questions to understand the concept along with answer writing practice. So these are the topics we have already started in the last class in relation to the judicial system in India. And this topic consists of the Supreme Court, High Court, Administrative Tribunal, Subordinate Judiciary. We have judicial review, judicial activism, independency of judiciary and judicial accountability. So with respect to these topics, we have already completed few mains questions. Let us today see some more questions. Look at the first question. Right. Now what is the question all about? Explain the hierarchy of Indian judiciary along with the nature of the Indian judiciary. See, there are two important aspects the question is all about. The first aspect is what is the nature of the judicial system in India? What is the nature of the judicial system in India? And the second aspect being what is the hierarchy of the Indian judiciary? See, whenever you understand the keywords, of the question, right, we will definitely know the scope. We will definitely know the scope of the answer. We will definitely know the scope of the answer, the limits of the answer writing. We will definitely know, right, how to concise our answer, because it is just a 10 marker. You need to write 150 to 180 words. 150 to 180 words. So you can concise the particular answer when you understand the keywords, when you know the keywords of a question. Now what is this question all about? It talks about explain the hierarchy of the Indian judiciary and along with the nature of the Indian judiciary. Right? How to start the question? Right? The answer for this question starts with the introduction. Now what is the introduction you need to give? You need to define or explain the judiciary in India. Right? Indian judiciary is one of the branches as part of the separation of powers theory. The main role of the Indian judicial system is to judicial review of different laws and policies of the legislature and executive in India. After defining this, let us see the nature of the Indian judiciary first. Then let us see the hierarchy of the Indian judiciary. Now if you look at the nature of the Indian judicial system, what is the nature of the Indian judicial system? Right? The judiciary in India has two major concepts, two major natures, or the nature of the Indian judiciary can be classified into two ways. The first one is independent judiciary. The second one is integrated judiciary. The first one is the independent judiciary and the second one is integrated judiciary. Indian judiciary is independent like the US judicial system. Indian judiciary is also integrated like the UK judicial system. It is both integrated and independent. Why it is independent? In India, the independency of judiciary is part of basic structure doctrine. Basic structure doctrine, as said by the Supreme Court, as mentioned by the Supreme Court, as mentioned by the Supreme Court in your, in NJAC judgment, National Judicial Appointment Commission judgment, Supreme Court said the independent character of judiciary, the judicial review is part of basic structure doctrine. Not only in NJAC case, even in Indira Gandhi versus Raj Narayan case, judiciary said judicial review is part of the basic structure doctrine. What is independent judiciary? Judiciary is very much independent, do not work combinedly with other branches of the state, that is your legislature and executive, because the main role of the judiciary is to protect, or it is the guardian of Indian Constitution. The main role of the Indian judiciary is to protect or guardian of the Indian Constitution. Judiciary ensures that all the secondary laws and all the policies are aligned with the Indian Constitution, meaning judiciary protects the Indian Constitution. Judiciary is a guardian of the Indian Constitution. Judiciary ensures that every other law and policy in India is aligned to the Constitution of India, and so the reason Indian judiciary must be independent to ensure that the constitution principle, the constitutionalism, the constitutional morality is not diluted, And how does judiciary checks the secondary laws and policies? By the process called judicial review. Judiciary, by the process called judicial review, will review the secondary laws and policies and ensure that they are aligned with the Indian Constitution, and that is how it protects the Indian Constitution. So this is one of the nature of the Indian judiciary. The second nature of the Indian judiciary is integrated judiciary. What is the meaning of integrated judiciary? What is the meaning of integrated judiciary? It means in India, all courts have equal power. All courts in India have equal power to enforce or review any law in the country. In India, all the courts have equal power to enforce and review any law in the country. See, we have a hierarchy of the judiciary. What is that hierarchy of the judiciary? At the bottom, we have a Supreme Court, we have high courts, and we have subordinate courts. All the courts in India have equal power to enforce all the laws in the country and review all the laws in the country. That is called your integrated judicial system. So this is one part of the question we have completed. What is the second part of the question asked? That is your hierarchy of the Indian judiciary. What is the hierarchy of the Indian judicial system? At the top, we have something called Supreme Court, right? And below Supreme Court, we have High Court. High Court is in the state level, and below High Court we have subordinate court. Now look at the screen. Now very important. Now if you look at the Supreme Court, there is only one Supreme Court for the entire nation, and this is in union level. And Article 124 to 147 deals with the Supreme Court of India. And look at High Court. There are 25 High Courts for all the 28 states and 8 union territories, and this is in the state level. This is from the state level, and Article 214 to 231 talks about the high courts in India. Now, subordinate courts, there are 600 plus subordinate courts in the country, and this is in the district level. This is in the district level. This is in the district level. We have union, state and district level courts, and Article 233 to 237 deals with the subordinate courts in the country. Now, coming to the subordinate courts in India, the subordinate courts can be classified into different types again, and the state government along with the high court of each state will decide the subordinate court hierarchy. The state government, including the criteria of population and other geographical aspects, the state government along with the high court decide the hierarchy of the subordinate courts. Let us see the broader hierarchy, right? In that this is a broader hierarchy. It may exclude something or include something. The names also will be different, decided by the state government. But let us see the broader hierarchy. What is the broader hierarchy we have? Right? We have 3 levels of the courts in below the district level. We have 3 levels of court below the district level. What are they? We have something called civil courts. We have civil courts which deals with civil cases, We have sessions court, which deals with criminal cases, We have something called revenue boards, which deals with tax related matters, Now, the civil courts are further divided into 3 types. The civil court is further divided into 3 types. What is the first one we have? The first one is sub-judge court. We have sub-judge court. The second one is municipal court. See, many of the states like AP and Telangana have courts, subordinate courts till municipal courts. They don't go below that because there is no requirement. But some states like UP, which has good population, Bihar, they need an hierarchy of the courts. So, it is a wish of the state government to have a lower level courts also. And lower level courts is called small courts. The sessions court is also divided into 3 types. Now, what is the first one? The first one is, right, first class magistrate. The second one is second class magistrate, and most of the states do not have this, but if needed, third class magistrate. This is the hierarchy below subordinate courts. That you need to understand this. The revenue boards which are linked to the tax related matters are also divided into 3 types, three hierarchies. What are they, sir? They are, the first one is commissionerate court. The second one is collectorate court. And the third one is you have Tahsildar court, your MRO, right? So, this is the entire hierarchy of the courts in India. We have an apex court in the central level, we have an apex court in the state level, and we have an apex court in the district level. And below the district level, we have court structures as decided by the state government as well as the high court. So, this is the entire hierarchy of the courts we have in India. In India, if you see, we have a vibrant judicial system. We have a very much vibrant judicial system. The Supreme Court in India came into existence on January 28th, 1950. The High Court in India came into existence when a court was established at Bombay, Madras and Calcutta in 1862. In 1862, we have Bombay, Madras and Calcutta High Court which was established. This is the major the hierarchy and nature of the Indian judicial system we have. So, This is the answer you need to write when the question is all about asking the nature of the Indian judiciary and also the hierarchy. Let's go to the next question. Let's go to the next mains question. Right? Look at this question. How is Chief Justice of India different from other judges of the Supreme Court in functioning? How is the Chief Justice of India different from other judges of Supreme Court in functioning? See, the key word here is in functioning and is a different. The keyword are very important to understand the scope of the answer, Now, if you look at this, how the Chief Justice of India is different from judges of the Supreme Court functioning. Now, you need to start with something called introduction. What do you need to write for introduction? The thing which you write for introduction is, right, there are, right, the original constitution, right, said there shall be a Chief Justice of India and not more than 7 judges of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court judges can be increased by Parliament. Parliament has the authority by a law. Parliament by a law can increase the number of judges of the Supreme Court. Parliament by a law can increase the number of judges by the law of the Supreme Court. Presently, there are 34 judges in the Supreme Court, which include 33 plus 1. The one person who is here is the Chief Justice of India. The Chief Justice of India. Who is the Chief Justice of India? The senior most judge. The senior most judge among all the judges. To understand why senior most judge and all came, now the thing which you need to focus on is the first judge's case, S.P. Gupta versus Union of India. The second judge's case, Supreme Court Advocate on Records versus Union of India case, and the third judge's case, which is called the presidential reference. This is called the third judge's case. The question is all about how Chief Justice of India is different from that of functioning from other judges. See, coming to the Chief Justice of India's functioning. Chief Justice of India's functioning. Let us write pointwise. Right? The Chief Justice of India is one among the equals. He has made the Chief Justice because he is the senior most judge. In terms of the age. Retirement age of Supreme Court judges is 65 years. Point number 2. What is the meaning of point number 2? The Chief Justice of India is the administrative head of the Supreme Court. The Chief Justice of India is the administrative head of the Supreme Court. What is the meaning of administrative head? He ensures or he manages the day-to-day affairs. Of the Supreme Court. What is the meaning of day-to-day affairs of the Supreme Court? It means certain appointments, regulation, control. He also takes care of the section officers, line and staff functions. He also fixes the timings of the court. He also fixes the holidays to be taken by the court. So he is an administrative head. Junior assistants will be there, or you have clerks. Right? All these people are appointed by, and their functions, their role, their salary is also decided, regulated by the Chief Justice of India. This is your second point. The third important point is the Chief Justice of India is called roster of rolls. The Chief Justice of India is called roster of rolls. Why is called roster of rolls? For two important reasons. He is called the roster of rolls for two important reasons. Reason number one, he decides the cause list of the court. Now, what is the meaning of cause list? Cause list is the cases and to which judge it should be allotted. It decides which case should be allotted for which judge. Right? This is one thing he decides. The second important point is he is called roster of rolls because he also decides the bench, the judges bench, as well as the number of judges in a bench, in a bench. What is the meaning of this? You hear in the news that even recently also we have this economically weaker section reservation. Supreme Court has upheld. Supreme Court has accepted with 3:2 majority, meaning there is a 5 judges bench where 3 judges said yes, 2 judges said no. In a similar way, you should also understand what is the meaning of judges bench. Judges bench is nothing but if there is any important matter concerned to any case, then the only thing the CJA can do is, because it is a matter of the future, it is a matter of the constitution, he himself or he do not allocate this type of cases to a one particular judge. Instead, he will come up with something called number of judges in a bench. The number of judges in a bench can be, it starts with 2, it can be 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13 and so on. The minimum number of the judges in a bench should be 2, where one judge should be compulsory CJA. Now we have 3, 5, 7, 9 and so on in a odd number term. Now very important, if any case is linked to constitutional matter. Now, to decide upon the constitutional matter, the minimum judges should be 5 in a bench. So, it should be 5 in a bench, that is for sure. And let me also tell you one more point. The office of the CJA is under Right to Information Act. The office of the administrative functioning of CJA is under Right to Information Act. So, this is the answer for this particular question. What are the functions of the CJA and how he is different from other judges of the Supreme Court? This is how you need to write the answer for this particular question. Let us see one more question. Yes. What is the next question we have? The question is, discuss the process of removal of the Supreme Court and High Court judges in India. Right? Removal of the Supreme Court and High Court judges in India. Now, very important. In the introduction, you need to come up with something called, right, what is the meaning of a Indian judiciary? You can write Indian judiciary is the apex judicial system. It is a branch. It is one of the branch in the Indian state. And the nature of the Indian judiciary is both independent as well as integrated. Now, introduction, you need to say, till now no judge is removed by this process. Article 124 clause 4 and Article 124 clause 5 deals with the removal of the judges of the Supreme Court. And this process of the removal of the judges from the Supreme Court is taken from US Constitution. Very important. Right? The process to remove the judge of the Supreme Court shall be given by a law made in the parliament. Parliament should come up with a law to deals with the procedure to remove the judges. But according to the constitution, article 124 clause 4, on only two grounds a judge can be removed. What are they? The first one is misbehavior. Second one is incapacity. There are two grounds on which a judge can be removed: misbehavior and incapacity. But how a judge is removed? The judge is removed by the President of India. The judges of the Supreme Court and High Court are removed by the President of India. But for the President to remove a judge, a removal resolution shall be accepted in both Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha. It shall be accepted in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. A removal resolution must be accepted in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. It can be initiated in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. It can be initiated either in Lok Sabha or in Rajya Sabha. If it is initiated in Lok Sabha, the resolution need a minimum 100 members support. If it is initiated in Rajya Sabha, a resolution need minimum 50 members support. Imagine the resolution is initiated in Lok Sabha. Who will receive the resolution? The Speaker. As when the resolution is accepted by the Speaker will go with something called 3-member committee. Right? As per Judges Enquiry Act of 1968. The Speaker will constitute a 3-member committee which consists of 3 members. Who are they? 1. The Chief Justice of India or the Senior Judge of Supreme Court. 2. Any High Court Chief Justice. And 3. A jurist. Right? They will submit a report to the Speaker. If this committee finds a judge guilty, only then the Speaker will put the resolution for voting, and it has to be accepted by 2/3 majority. Once it is accepted by 2/3 majority, it will go to Rajya Sabha. Even in Rajya Sabha, it has to be accepted by 2/3 majority. Once it is accepted by 2/3 majority in both the houses, the President of India will remove that particular judge. There are resolutions initiated, but none of the resolution was taken forward, because as when the resolution is initiated, the judges only will resign. Right? A judge of the Supreme Court shall address his resignation letter to President of India. Okay, let me come back and let me revise this. If it is initiated in Rajya Sabha, right, it has to be the resolution must be supported by minimum 50 members, and the Speaker. It is a chairman who takes the resolution. What will chairman do? As per Judges Enquiry Act of 1968, the chairman will come up with something called a 3-member committee. Who are this 3-member committee? The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court or Senior Judge of the Supreme Court, any High Court Chief Justice, or a jurist. Now these people will submit a report to the chairman. If this report finds the judge guilty, only then the chairman will put it for voting. Right? In voting, it has to be accepted with 2/3 majority. Then it will go to Lok Sabha. Even in Lok Sabha, it has to be accepted with 2/3 majority. If both the houses accept the resolution with 2/3 majority, the President of India will remove a particular judge. So this is the answer you need to write for this particular question. So this is your chapter 4, paper 3 of mains, TSPSC Group 1 mains. I will see you guys in the next class with chapter 5. Happy learning. Till then, happy learning, and also be safe, keep learning, be happy. Jai Hind.